Oh, Tekker's gone. João Andrade. What a goal.
And again, Gabby Fernando on the 6-yard line. 99th minute. 9 minutes of injury time, and Gabby has won it for Stretford Paddock.
Shot a goal. Oh! Wow!
And that is that. Stretford Paddock, first piece of silverware. Tony Downs Memorial Trophy.
Hello and welcome to the Stretford Paddock Fans Podcast. This is a special episode, not only because we're recording it while Paddock are sitting top of the league, but also because we've got another two-part episode. So in part two, we're going to be joined by our women's first team coach, Meg, who's going to be sharing the inside story behind the launch of our new women's team. But first up, in part one, we're getting stuck into Cheshire League Division 1 and looking back at our key games against Winsford and Knutsford. Now, joining me to discuss those two games are our fan reps. So first up, we've got regular guest Stu. Evening, Stu.
Evening, everybody at the paddock.
And making his debut on the podcast, we've got Johnny. Evening, Johnny.
Evening, guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Let's get stuck into it then, lads. We'll start with you then, Johnny. We'll ask you a few questions about how you got involved with Paddock, and then we'll move on to Cheshire League Division 1 matters. So first up, it feels like you've been kind of part of the Paddock story from the very beginning. So what made you start coming to Paddock games?
Yeah, very much so. Obviously, big friends with Steve, yeah, we're there from the start. Alex and I are both founder members, and yeah, been there since 2020. So Alex just loves football at any level, and he loves watching. He'll watch it on telly, but he prefers going live because it's just a different experience. And obviously, we're big Manchester United fans, and we follow them at all levels. But to get involved with Stretford Paddock was something special, and to be there from the start, and yeah, just follow their journey. It's been absolutely amazing.
For those members out there that don't know you, could you perhaps explain who you are and who Alex is?
Yes, of course. I think probably a lot of people know my son more than me. As an account on socials, the famous Alex Neil, that was kind of done a bit tongue-in-cheek. He had a few early interactions with One Matter, and it's kind of a play on words as well, FAN, and he had a football logo, so he's kind of football fan, so it kind of worked well, and we just created his account from there, and like I say, massive Manchester United fans. We follow the first team women. Alex is at tonight's game as well. 18s, 21s. It's incredible the amount of games that he goes to, it was just a great opportunity to be part of a Stretford Paddock's kind of growth, and becoming a football club and getting involved in that. So we kind of try and bring on supporters. We obviously have a disability angle because my son is wheelchair dependent, but certainly doesn't stop him from attending as many games as he does. He's done over 1,300 games, and he's only just turned 18. I think he's been to about 27, 28 countries. He just loves watching football at all levels, and to be part of Paddock and see their journey, it's just been absolutely amazing. And this is only the start of it.
But you mentioned One Matter was probably his favourite United player. Does he have any players at Paddock that he's connected with or became a big fan of?
Yeah, I think all the lads are brilliant with him. They all always come over and say hello or give him a fist bump before the game. I think his favourite player is probably Florin, the goalkeeper. We're there for one of his first games that I've get with play. I probably need Alex really to tell me. And yeah, he's just been absolutely brilliant with Alex. He always comes over and says hello, like all the lads do. And he just loves that interaction. It's these experiences that you can't buy, and just being part of the club and part of that culture. It's just absolutely amazing, and I think that's what Alex buzzes off, and a long may that continue.
Have you noticed any change in the culture or the atmosphere since the very first days when you started coming to the Paddock games to now, where we're in Division One and playing in a nice non-league stadium. Has it changed at all?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that we're slowly getting bigger crowds and what have you, and there's a lot of a lot of regulars now. It's great to let on to people, and there is a good atmosphere, a good friendly atmosphere. Everything's accessible, and it's just one big family really. I think Stu's set up those flags and involving people, and it's great to get people on board and. It's just fantastic, and and hope that can just build and become bigger and bigger, because that's what football is, isn't it? It's that community, it's that togetherness, and that kind of just being part of something special.
Johnny, I think that game we mentioned a minute ago was back in August last season, and it was Warrington Rylands away 4-1, I think.
Yes, I think. Yeah. This is why I rely on Alex. He'd remember them like you. I can't remember what it yesterday now.
But Johnny, you mentioned Alex's favourite player and things. Have you got like a favourite player from the Paddock history or currently?
Yeah, I can't remember his name now. Is the centre half, the captain? He nearly did 100 games. He's left. What's he called now? Oatsy. Yes, thank you. Honestly, my memory is terrible, but yeah, I know there's some good players, and I love Cam as well. Obviously, you've seen Cam, as part of the old, kind of working behind the scenes almost, and what a great player he is. But yeah, no, he's been good. There's been some fantastic players that have played for the club, and now obviously comes down to games still now. Well, he's even played as well for us, hasn't he? So played again. So I was hoping he'd have been the first one to get the 100 games, but that wasn't to be.
One thing that may have changed in the last 5 years since you started coming is we never used to be top of the league, Johnny. So that may get mentioned more than once tonight on this pod, because we know it might not last, and we're probably, by the time this goes out, we could not be top of the league. So depends how good I am at editing this week. But yeah, let's enjoy it while it lasts. So let's look back on the story of how we got there, because last time we caught up on the pod, we just lost our first game of the season. And then fast forward 2 games later and we're back top. So let's talk about our draw 2-2 away at Winsford. Maybe I'll go to you first, Johnny.
Yeah, we missed the first goal. We were still, we'd been to watch the under-18s in the morning, so, and then we got stuck in a bit of traffic, so we'd unfortunately missed the first goal, but we'd obviously seen updates. I think Stu, we were replying to him on Telegraph and got the updates. But yeah, when we got there, and then we also changed ends as well because we couldn't see properly, so we got kind of pitch side, dug outside, so that was a better angle. But just as we did, I think we pretty much conceded the second goal. So yeah, Stu could probably give an update, because I believe it was a bit of a mistake for the first one. But yeah, certainly second half it was all Paddock, and we should have really won that game. It was great to get that kind of late equaliser. It did feel like a win. We did come away kind of happy. But yeah, looking back on the game, we should have really kind of put them to bed. And there were just chance after chance after chance, and it was unlucky. But yeah, it was great to be there. And thankfully, I recorded that goal. I was trying to. It just started raining as well, so I was trying to hold an umbrella, push Alex forward, and film the goal. But yeah, I'm glad I managed to capture that, because it was a great kind of special moment. One of those, like you say, with no veil, it was, it was good to be able to capture it, and, put it on socials for everyone.
You didn't just capture Alex in like full celebration, but you also caught Steve in celebration, which he's vehemently denied since the goal went in, because he told everybody he's not happy with the draw and he didn't celebrate the goal. But he's caught on your video doing a little fist pump at 2-2. So I was glad you got that on camera.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think he kind of like everyone loved that going in. He didn't go over the top, but yeah, I think he definitely got caught out there. I think somebody put a meme on what the man yells at cloud. That was quite funny. So yeah, it was one of those. Like I say, everyone likes to see those last minute goals when you've been pushing so hard and working, as a team. There were, the young lads that came on and changed the game. Who kind of jumped forward. We were on before then, but yeah, it was a great comeback, and really probably shouldn't have that. And Florian again kept us in the game, because we were we were attacking. There was a couple of times where we were vulnerable at the back, so he certainly kept us in the game. Made some good important saves. So yeah, it was a good well, I say win. It feels like a win, but yeah, it was a good comeback. And like I say, you are disappointed because we should have really won it.
There really were two very early goals to concede, especially the first one. I think it was 3 minutes in. So Stu, you were there from the kickoff. Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, what the hell happened exactly? Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. We go back to one pod and was looking forward to the Winsford game, and we said they're always hard games, didn't we? Always said they're hard games. And you know what you're going to get when you turn up at their place. And it's always going to be some form of dogfight, and you're going to have to scrap for any sort of like point that you're going to get from them. They've been unbeaten for this season up to the point of playing us. And I feel like we came away feeling like we should have had more. I certainly did. We go into the game. We've got 3 minutes in, and their striker, who is really intelligent, to be fair to him, the runs he was making, is pulling the centre backs apart. I really enjoyed watching him actually, and he gets clean through on goal. I believe it was offside. I didn't quite see the offside, but I believe it was supposed to be a mile off. But our team stopped still, calling for the offside. Florin's calling for the offside in no man's land, and he's been lobbed. And end of the day, yes, let's say the guy was offside. Whoever was offside, that's fine. But we don't stop play. We wait for the final whistle, but everyone stopped. And there seemed to be a recurring theme in the first half that we were constantly asking for that offside all the time. And got to the point where people on the sideline were saying, we stop asking for offsides and just play, because we're going to get caught out here. Clearly, they had a game plan, and we were the ones being drawn into it throughout the whole of the first half. It was quite frustrating to watch. I think Winsford set up really intelligently. When we look back to a couple of seasons ago, when they had people like Danny Fox and Rob Hopley, Rob Hopley used to be striker. They actually had both of them back at centre half, using their strength in the way that they distribute and are strong in the air. And they made sure to use the fresh legs of the youth running forwards. So a lot of the time it was getting the ball back to people like Danny Fox, who would then be able to distribute like a quarterback out to where he needed to go. But in particular, over towards Luke's left-hand side, a lot of the time Luke would be a little bit too far forward, and Danny Fox would be dropping that ball time and time and time again over onto his right wing to number 10, who had a great touch and was able to really enjoy that first half. Frustrating first half. We should never have been conceding the 2 goals that we did. And I think Johnny's fair in saying that. I think the team talk, again, they've done some wonders. The lads come out and just scrapped for every single morsel. It wasn't pretty, but the subs were made. Dylan came on, allowed us to be able to string passes together to move into their third. Kiefer came on and was drawing in 2, 3, 4 players who were trying to get the ball off him and failing every time. And the pressure was just on constantly from the first minute of the second half to the final whistle, like Johnny said, up to the point where on the final whistle, we'd actually got a corner. And, it was probably in the stars where if that corner was given, we might have actually chucked everyone up there and won the match. But I said after the game, I felt like we should have won that match. But if you're being objective, I think it's fair to say that a draw was probably what was deserved on the day for both of us. Go away with the point and move on. But I think had we not given away those 2 silly goals, we should have definitely come away with the 3 points that day.
Is it fair to say Winsford won the first half and Paddock won the second half?
Absolutely, everyone said it. Yeah, after the match, that's why a draw was. I think everyone would walk away and say, yeah, I think a draw is absolutely the fairest result of that game. Neither team should come away saying, oh, we deserve the 3 points, because I think Winsford absolutely played us off the park in the first half, and then we absolutely annihilated them in the second half. We really earned that point. Luke's goal, like Johnny said, was absolutely fantastic to watch. One of those kind of like Gabby Fernando moments against Main Road Reserves from a couple of seasons ago. So I don't blame Steve for having a little bit of a fist bump moment at all.
Yeah, and it has to be said, like Steve's team talk would have been very different had Sam Pratt not scored right before half time, because going in at 2-1 down, being completely outplayed, is very different to being 2-0 down, where the game's almost a, salvation job at that stage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We threw the kitchen sink at them in the second half, and they kept dropping deep and deep and deep. And we had to scrap for that one goal. Had it been, like you say, 2-0 at half time, we wouldn't have probably got the point there. But I think, like I say, end of the day, spoiled shared, and we move on.
And if there is a way to draw a game, that's the way to do it, isn't it? Like, obviously you mentioned Luke had a pretty torrid time in the first half, just getting targeted with that Danny Fox kind of quarterback diagonal ball. But yeah, for him to then recover and get the winner in 2 minutes of injury time, yeah, that's the perfect story for Luke himself, but also for us. If you're going to draw, like, make that draw at least feel like a win, even if it's not.
Definitely. I think it's fair to say that they're not a one-person team either. We talk about people like Rob Hopley and Danny Fox, but their number 10 was great. Their number 7, I think one of the moments of the match that really changed it in our favour was when their number 7, who was centre mid, got taken off. He was really intelligent in kind of his pressing. He was kind of like 2 steps ahead of the game, and he was already acknowledging the danger that Paddock we were about to move into, and he was already making his way over to where the ball was going to get to, forcing us to make different decisions. So when he came off at about the 60th minute mark, I thought that's brilliant because he's gone. Number 10, he switched sides. We brought on Dylan and Keitha, and it was a completely different half.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were under any illusions that Winsford were going to be a really, really good test for us. Johnny, you've been to a lot of games this year. How do they compare to other teams that you've seen Paddock come up against so far in this league?
Yeah, they were very good, very well organised. They had the good set pieces and throw-ins. I think it was important to get that goal just before half time. I know there was probably a bit of upset on their side. I thought it was a fair challenge. The keeper had gone up for it. They were also unbeaten as well going into this. So, coming away with a point is a good result. So, yeah, I'll take that all day.
And do you expect Winsford to be up there, top of the table towards the end of the season?
Yeah, it should certainly be challenging. Like I say, hopefully we can continue on a good one that we've had. We've only had that one defeat, so I know Alex likes to go to the games. He always kicks himself. He always said, "Oh, we've lost because I've not been." So I think he's got a 100% record games that he's been. He's not seen a defeat yet. So long may that continue, and hopefully can get to as many games as he can.
That's a better record than Notch. I think Notch is 9 wins out of 9.
Yeah, that's only this season for Alex. Yeah, I think overall, but yeah, he hates missing a game, and if we do lose, he always blames himself. But yeah, no, I don't think he can beat Knox. That's for sure.
We had a pretty fast turnaround going into the Knutsford game just 3 days later, but we faced a tough opponent who went into the game with 7 wins in all competitions in a row. But Paddock actually started quick for a change and ran out 2-1 winners. Sadly, still no VO camera, so I'm going to be of no use to you guys in this section. But Stu, can you talk us through the Knutsford game? Do you think it was a deserved 3 points?
Yeah, absolutely deserved 3 points. It wasn't a pretty 3 points, but it's those sorts of games where I guess like in the past where you play ugly sometimes, not to the best of your ability and your quality, and you still come away with the 3 points. And it's just as important to win those games as it is playing beautiful football, isn't it? So it was all about getting the result. The team sheet couldn't really been questioned. Dylan more than earned his place in the starting lineup. It was great to see him starting alongside, Joe Coleman KO'd in the middle triangle. And we started fast, didn't we? We started fast, playing good football. First 20 minutes, 2-0 up. Beautiful goals. Sam Pratt, who never gets in the box for scoring a goal, scores 2 goals in the box. Somebody said that once, I think, on the day. And then Sam Pratt converts 2 6-yarders, which was glorious to see. And then it all fell off after those 2 goals. And we seem to lose our momentum, allow them to get slightly back into it. We made our own mistake, which converted that into a concession, and there we are going into half time at 2-1 and a fire alarm to boot.
Let's talk about Sam Pratt before we cover the rest of the game, because yeah, you're very kindly not giving my name to that comment, but it was me that said. So basically, in a WhatsApp chat on the day of the game, I said, Sam Pratt for me makes the team better. He'll always score lots of goals because he's a good finisher, but he'll never score 30 goals because he never gets in the 6-yard box enough. He always how Rooney used to for United, like go and make a tackle down at left back or something. Anyway, obviously I've got no VO, but the 2 updates we got from Saul on the day of the game were Sam Pratt scores in the 6-yard box, and then about 10 minutes later, it's like Sam Pratt gets another one in the 6-yard box. So just, I'll just host this pod. Just don't listen to me at all. I don't know what I'm talking about. Johnny, Sam Pratt, 9 goals in 9 games now. We need to give him a bit of credit because he's been criticised on this pod, not by me, I'll add, not by Stu, but he's currently 2nd top scorer in the league as well. So, Johnny, maybe you can share how you feel Sam's played for us in that number 9 role this year.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's on fire at the minute, and like I say, long may that continue. So, yeah, no, he's been really good. It's been good to see him develop and come through. He's one of those as a striker, isn't it? I think sometimes you rely a lot on kind of momentum and
good service.
Yeah, exactly. And, there can be some fortune in there. So hopefully, that'll continue. And let's hope he can get those 30 goals.
That's the thing. Like, his all-round play is fantastic as well. Like, my point that I made earlier, which was wrong, but it's the fact that he gets involved all over the pitch. I mean, Luke's equaliser against Winsford came from Sam challenging the keeper from the corner and forcing that mistake. Thankfully, I could see that thanks to your video, Johnny. But yeah, it's the work he does off the ball, and it's all the pressing and the chasing. And yeah, he's been fantastic this season, really.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it is that unselfish stuff, and unless you're at the game or able to watch it, it's sometimes those, kind of runs or other, parts of the work that you do in the build-up that contribute to other people scoring chances, and it's good to see, and hopefully can continue in this, good vein of form.
Stu, what happened with that fire alarm? Why did the game kick off like 20 minutes late in the second half?
Well, for those people who haven't been to the stadium before, as you walk through the gate, the cafe is right there, and it's directly under the stadium. So somebody's chips and cheese, I'm probably going to say Steve Harris's, it was burning on the grill, and it set the fire alarm off, and the fire alarms was locked away in the VIP area, so no one could get to it to turn the blooming thing off. So it was blazing for about 10 minutes, but the ref was being a bit sensitive, saying that it was going to put him off, doing his job. So we had to delay for 5 minutes or so, but eventually got going again.
So when the game finally got playing against you, how did the second half go? Because you put a really horrible, tense Telegram message there saying that Knutsford got denied a 93rd minute penalty, and you really built it up while we were all kind of shitting ourselves, frankly, in the Telegram group.
Yeah, it got going again. It was just an absolute scrap. I think Steve covered it in his kind of social media post-match post video thing, and it was just low grade quality football. Designed to simply get the 3 points in the end, and it shouldn't have come to that. They made a couple of really good subs. They were going for the overload, trying to go for the equaliser, and I guess we did what Winsford wasn't able to do a few days before, and we held on for the 3 points. It wasn't quite backs against the wall though for us, and I think two people that came on that made a heck of a difference in relieving that pressure on making sure we didn't get too deep too often, was Noah and Kiefer. Now, what I want to say is Kiefer is not a super sub. He's an impact player when he comes off the bench, but he's certainly not a super sub. He's more than that. He can start games as well. And I think that when Ronnie gets back, and then we've got Joa and we've got Damani and people like this, we might have other people being able to be that impact sub at times in the game that are really valuable to stay in the team. But at the moment, Kiefer is that person. And him and Noah came on and helped to just keep drive with their fresh legs, driving forward whenever we had the chance, relieve that pressure off the defence, and keep going for that final goal. And it was quite close to that third goal, and it would have been done and dusted, killed the game, but we didn't quite get it. But importantly, we held on. And like you say, there was a couple of tense moments when I think Florin made a fantastic close quarter one-on-one save to prevent a goal. And then, yeah, in like the 92nd, 93rd minute, there was a penalty appeal, but it wasn't quite as legitimate as I was making it out to be. I was just winding people up on the Telegram group in that instance. They did try to appeal for something. Can't quite remember what it was. It looked really soft, and they were just trying to, roll the dice to see if they could get something out of the game. So
You
yeah,
would,
we
wouldn't
came
you?
out with the 3 points in the end.
So do you think, is it fair to say that we were hanging on, or were we seeing it out quite professionally?
No, we weren't hanging on at all. We're seeing it. I wouldn't say professionally is not the word. I think we rode our luck for sure. But I think if you watched the Winsford second half in comparison to the Knutsford second half and compared our defending to Winsford's defending, they got super deep and they were hanging on, in my opinion. But against Knutsford, there was much more structure to our defending. We were deliberately trying to get that line as high as we could, as often as we could. Yeah, the subs were deliberate, and I think that we weren't quite in as much danger as Winsford were when they conceded that last minute winner to us in comparison to how we finished.
I need you to share the story, Stu, before we move on. Florin picked up a yellow card in the 86th minute. Now I know the story behind that, and I just feel like the other members would really appreciate knowing what happened.
Yeah, I mean, yellow cards came out galore in the match in the end, but Florence is a bit more bizarre. The Knutsford striker or attacker took a shot. It went straight behind the goal into the stand, and Florin just decided to do the dark arts, stroll around, take the long route around, had his sat nav on, and picked the ball up, strolled back onto the pitch as slow as he can, fiddling around with his laces or something. And the ref decided to give him a yellow card for time wasting.
I heard he had to like climb through a gate or something, didn't he, to go and get the ball, or was that made up?
No, no, not made up. Yeah, you've got the gates that are locked on either side. So he's the thing is just straight behind his goal is another gate that he could have gone through. So he's had his sat nav on the long route round, and he's decided to take the furthermost gate as he could to waste a bit of time.
Like a taxi driver with a tourist in the back. Scenic route.
That's it. Yeah.
So before we went into this game, I was a bit worried about Knutsford because, like we said, they're in really good form. Admittedly, I don't think they've played the strongest teams in the league during this 7-game winning run. But Stu, what did you think of Knutsford compared to, the likes of Winsford, Claybrow, Dayton that we've played in recent weeks?
You're going to ask us that about every team, aren't you? Are they going to be near the top? Every single team, and we're going to have 3/4 of the team challenging for promotion.
It's weird, isn't it? Because we're a quarter of the way through the season, or a third of the way through the season for some teams, and I still can't quite put my finger on who the favourites are, who's going to drop off, who's played who. But Knutsford in particular, they started awfully. Like they got battered in their first 2 games, and they've won every game since until Tuesday night.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? Because, like you say, it's Tuesday night. They've had to drive quite a long way midweek in the evening. They've maybe missed 3 or 4 of their first teamers, which does make a difference in the way you perform. It's hard to judge them on their performance on the night, but I guess if that's all I've got to go off, I would say that they're probably going to be struggling to go for that promotion those promotion spots in comparison to teams that I've seen. You know, when you've got the likes of Stretford Paddock, Winsford, Claybrow. We haven't played Edgerton yet, so I can't throw them in the mix. Who else have we got? Dayton were a really strong team and really hard to play against. So you got these 4 or 5 teams that I've already mentioned just there that are definitely going to be vying for promotion and taking points off of other people. Do I think Knutsford from Tuesday night are going to be up there in that mix? I don't think so, personally. But I can only go off of Tuesday night's performance and not kind of what they look like maybe on a full strength Saturday.
Yeah, I mean they play Claybrow next Saturday, so I think that will be a real kind of
Yeah,
acid test for them. We'll see what they're all about then. And obviously Claybrow lost at the weekend to Edgerton, so they'll be looking to bounce back. So it'll be a big game for both of those sides. We've got a big game Saturday. St Helens Town at home. Our old friends from our Division 2 days both got promoted last season, and also Members Day. So, Johnny, will you be joining us at that game? And are you feeling confident going into this one?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Yeah, hopefully we can come away with the win. But yeah, it should be a good day. Thankfully, first team Man United kick off at half 5. So yeah, we'll be there loud and proud and cheering the boys on. Hope they can get the win. Keep this kind of run going. Seems to be in a good momentum, just with that one defeat at the minute, and hope we can build on that last result. So, or last 2 results, we've had a draw and a good win midweek. So, yeah, fingers crossed.
Famous last words, but I've always had the utmost respect for St Helens, and I've never been confident against them. But I think this is as confident as I've ever been. Obviously, we are. I may have mentioned it tonight on the pod, but we are top of the league, and St Helens aren't, and that's not the way it was last season because they were on top for the most of the season. But I am actually confident about Saturday. I'm not saying we're going to steamroll anybody by any means because we know that they're a really good side from last year. But yeah, I feel like if there's ever an opportunity for Paddock to get 3 points against St Helens, it's probably Saturday because they're not in the best league form. I know they won in the cup at the weekend, and obviously Paddock are in very good form at the moment. So I'm confident. Are you confident, Stu?
I am, but I'm not going to give them anything to clip up and play in the changing room at all. Like you say, utmost respect to St Helens. They had a fantastic season last year. They've not started off the greatest this season. I know that some of their fans, 2 or 3 of them, are a bit nervous about the weekend. I think that if the tables were turned, I think we'd probably be feeling pretty similar. There's the situation that they've got with the team at the moment in relation to selection and things like this. Their goalkeeper got a concussion at the weekend, which is you'd never want to hear that at all. Being taken off and potentially having to miss the match coming up. We don't know if he will, but you don't want to hear people getting injured and having head injuries. So. No, I'm going to stay on the fence and not give anything that can be clipped up. I am looking forward to it though. I think that you're right, Chris. Is this the ideal time to play them? Yes, but like everything we've learned from Division 2, not any one team is there for the taking, and you've got to be in the mindset that from the first whistle, we come out fearless, like I keep saying, confident that we are going to put in everything to come away with the 3 points, and nothing else can be short of that.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a very similar frame of mind last season when we went to their place in the league. Like we were in pretty good form then, and we still got beat. So we know that they've got quality. I know they've lost some players over the summer that moved on to Knutsford in the Premier Division. So they did lose a couple of key players there, but they have recruited. I know Taylor Prescott was a big signing for them, and he has not available at the weekend. So another kind of boost for Paddock. But yeah, I am confident, but equally it is St Helens. We know they're a good side and nothing is easy, especially against them. But one boost we do have is that it's Members Day. So we're going to have how many people there, Stu? 1,000, 100? Tommy Robinson said we're getting 5,000. So is that true?
Yeah, well, if he said 5,000, it's going to be 1 million, isn't it? So Yeah, we should have a healthy crowd. I'm gonna be on the gate, hopefully taking a bit of an attendance record if I can. I'm really excited about Members Day. It's great to get something firmed up in the calendar. For once, we had fixtures that were a good 4 or 5 weeks ahead, so we could get something penciled in so that we can bring fans from all over the UK and wherever else they may come from. We might be surprised by people coming over from Europe, and that's happened before as well. So it'd be fantastic to see so many people passionate about not just Stretford Paddock, but about grassroots football. We're going to have the St Helens fans there, who we know are always a fantastic laugh and great to have at games for the atmosphere, and just enjoy being together, celebrating Paddock. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, when I said 100, I factored in that St Helens would bring about 50. So that's definitely helps. And we need those 100 people to bring a little something with them, don't we, Stu?
That's right, mate. We're doing a bit of a food bank collection for Tameside East Food Bank. It's the local Hyde area. Obviously, collecting non-perishable items for people who need that service. So, if you have the ability to do so, please bring along anything that you can offer. Look on our socials, and we've shared a screenshot of what sorts of items you can bring along, and anything you can spare will be of obviously value to really helpful to households who need it. So thanks for anybody's generosity that can bring those items with them to match day.
Right, that sounds like a good positive way to end part one, guys. So let's go meet our special guest. Welcome back to the Paddock Fans Podcast. This is part two, and we welcome to the pod Meg Stapleton, our new women's player manager. Evening, Meg.
Hello, you okay?
Hey!
Oh dear.
Meg, really good to have you on. We've got a lot of questions for you, and obviously this is a pretty momentous moment for the club. Really, not only is it our first women's team, but we also had the first game at the weekend. So we're going to get lots of questions over to you about that. But more about you personally, Meg. Like, what got you first into football in general?
Yeah, so I'm now 25, so I turned 25 over the weekend. I first started playing when I was about 7. And I'll probably mention him a lot, but the main reason being my older brother. He used to just stick me in front of the garage doors and kick balls at me basically, and that's kind of how it kind of started. So I was a goalkeeper for a bit, not a very good one, I'll
Against
admit.
your will.
Yeah. And then someone came into my primary school with leaflets to go and play for their local team. So I then nagged my mum, and my mum said, yeah, pretty much straight away. Played for Spurley Hay for about 3 seasons, it must have been. And then back in those days, a girl couldn't play for a boys' team once they reached a certain age. So I then went to play for a girls' team. That rule that year then got scrapped, so I could do another year at boys' football. And then by the time I was old enough, I went to play for a team in Denton, and then I ended up playing for Reddish North End, who we actually played at the weekend in our first game. So I went there when I was about 13, and I was there until I was 16. In and amongst all of that, I entered the world of academy football. So I played for Manchester City for a year or two when I was younger. I got released after a year and a half, I think it was, maybe less than that. And then I was pretty much thrown straight into open age football. So I was 15, but because my birthday's September, I turned 16 pretty quickly into the year. So I started playing open age football as I was 15, which isn't really common anymore. You have under 17 leagues, under 18 leagues now, but we didn't have them back when I was 17, 18. So I was thrown in at the deep end. I played for Curzon Ashton, I then played for Stockport County. But as I turned 16, my older brother, who I mentioned before, he started coaching at Reddish North End, and then he realised I knew more what I was talking about than he did, and he let me join in. And then kind of from then on, I've kind of just coached and played as much as I can ever since.
You've been coaching since you were 15?
Yeah, I did my level 1 as soon as I turned 16. I did my level 1. And Joe, my older brother, I helped him out, and basically he became the manager and I became the coach. I did all the legwork and he did all the shouting and telling off.
Sounds like you've been put in goal again, Meg, to be honest. You got the worst position.
Yeah. Yes, I do think probably he threw me in the deep end because one, I didn't have a clue what I was doing at that time. I just loved football. It was boys football as well. But we had a good group of kids at that time, and when you've got kids that can play football so early on in my coaching career, it makes it kind of easier. It's not like I'm trying to teach them the basics. They were a good under-8s, under-9s team, so we was pretty lucky in that sense.
Meg, you made it sound like you was ancient a minute ago when you said I'm now turned 25. But now we know why, because you've been coaching since you've been 15. So what's been key to kind of your development from as a coach from when you first got your level 1 to the point now being obviously Stretford Paddock player manager?
Well, as I did say, I would mention Joe a lot. There's something that we've always said, and he thinks very highly of me and thinks I am a decent coach, a decent player, but he's always told me to say yes to everything. So anytime someone asks me to do something, the answer's been yeah. And to be fair, that's probably come at a bit of a detriment to my own personal and social life because no, I can't go out on the weekend. I've got football. I can't do this, can't do that. I'm going football. I've got a game on Saturday. I'm coaching on Sunday. So yeah, it is scary because it's now 10 years, which is even weirder to think about that I've been coaching for that long. But yeah, just saying yes to everything. I don't think there's anything that anyone's ever offered me that I've turned down, which kind of puts me where I am.
Is that one of like the main pieces of advice you'd give to maybe young people who might be thinking about stepping into coaching?
Yeah, I probably get really infuriated when you see people that probably do have the potential to be a decent coach, but I can't do it because I've got such and such a thing to go to, and I'm just like, take every opportunity that you can get, because as far as I want to go in football, if I started saying no to things, I'd probably be a bit bollocks. I'd probably do myself over. So when I went to uni, there was a woman. They have something called the Women's High Performance Centre, and they came into uni and said, "Is there anyone that's involved in football, wants to be involved in football?" Blah 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 blah. So I said, "Yeah," and he was like, "Well, there's an opportunity at it was called an RTC at the time, so Manchester United's RTC Girls stands for Regional Talent Club." At the time, it's like, well, they're doing a menteeship program where basically they get level 1s in and they put them with more experienced coaches, and I've got someone to look up to, someone to work with, someone to take advice off. Which again, if I'd have said no to that, I would definitely not be as good as I think I am now.
You still play, right, Meg? So how do you balance that passion for playing against coaching? Like, are you now, even at the young age of 25, do you still prefer to coach than play?
I was okay as a kid. I was a good player as a kid. Had I worked harder and known what I know now about academy systems, for example, I would have worked harder and applied myself in a different way. But because of my commitment to coaching, my playing career, if you like, probably took a backseat, and I didn't get to play as much as I would have liked, or to the level that I probably could have played at. But in the same breath, I don't think I'm ever going to stop playing. I don't think there's ever going to come a point where coaching will completely take over. until probably my legs give in.
You are 25 now, Meg, so it's getting close.
I'm close to retirement age. I am, yes. It's hard. It is hard to balance it. Like last season, I ended up having 4 teams. So I had an under-10s team, an under-14s team, an under-16s team, and then open age. Also, whilst playing with the open age team, so balancing it was difficult. But it's such a cringy saying. I do find it really cringe, but you do it for the love of the game, kind of thing. Like you don't. There's no other reason I do it other than that.
Just find it really weird, Meg, to be honest. Like, I played a bit in my 20s and I did my badges as well, but I never loved it. Like, I did it because the club paid for it, but I love playing. Absolutely loved it. But if I could still play, I would. But I just don't meet many people in their like mid-20s who just are so passionate about the coaching side. So I think you're going to be a real asset to the paddock.
I think with me being when I went to United, I was 19. So surrounding yourself with like-minded people who they obviously, if they're coaching at United, they obviously want to go further in coaching. And there's people that have left United and gone on to coach at numerous other places now. That if I could be at that point by the time I'm 30, that would be great, kind of thing. But again, surrounding yourself with those kinds of people, there's never once in my mind. I love coaching. That there's never been a moment in time where it's entered my mind that I would stop ever doing it. If I can make a career out of it, which I will do, I 100% will do, then I'll be happy.
So how did you go from Meg, the 15-year-old coach, to ending up at Stretford Paddock? And what attracted you to the idea of building our first women's team? Was it even your idea, Meg?
It was my idea, and I'll be honest, it was kind of from me first coaching. Every kind of step of the way has been some sort of negotiation with my brother. Always, he's always been involved in every decision that I make, whether that is because I value his opinion or I think he knows better. Both come in hand in hand, I think. With regards to starting a women's team, so half of the squad we have now, if not a good chunk of it, we all played together last year elsewhere. And the problem we was having with the other club is we didn't have any sort of backing or any sort of support from people higher up in the club. It was the people that ran the club were great, like really, really good. The chairman of the club was lovely, but they weren't well known. They didn't have any. They were literally just running one men's team. They didn't have a club down there. They didn't have under 10s. They didn't have an under 16s. They had nothing. It was just literally one open age men's team playing Saturday League. And they couldn't give me what I wanted, really. I was having to find my own training pitch every week, having to argue about having the lines being put on the pitch every week. Like, it just wasn't doable. And it got to the end of last year and I was like, I need somewhere that is going to back us up when I need them to back us up, but also allow me to still play. And my brother, again, he watched Steve's podcasts, he watched Paddock play, and that was how I knew who Stretford Paddock were. And literally one day out of nowhere, Steve came across my LinkedIn. I was scrolling through LinkedIn and I just messaged him and I just said, can you do me a favour? Can you let me set up a women's team? I still want to play, but I think the way that your club is growing, I would like to be a part of it. There's a much bigger picture going on behind the scenes. I don't just want there to be a women's team. I want there to be a full girls setup. I want that to be replicated. Whatever you have going on with the boys, I want the girls to have the same thing. And it's really weird for me being in this position now because I've never really been interested in that before. I've always thought I would be in boys football. I'd go and coach boys academy, but now I have an under-11s girls team and they're actually really good. I'm thinking there's got to be something I can do whilst I can still play and have an influence and get girls more accessible football sessions, whether that be in Reddish, whether that be in Stockport, whether that be in Manchester. Paddock can help me do that, and that's kind of the biggest attraction. And Steve answered me pretty quickly, which from what I've come to learn is he doesn't answer everyone very quickly. So I was relatively lucky on the day that he answered me back, because I've then since spoke with Claire, and Claire's been brilliant. Claire has literally done everything for me. Everything I've asked, Claire's done, and Claire's backed me with whatever I've asked for. So I think that's just having two people above me that will support and kind of guide me where I need to be guided is one only going to help my career, but also provide opportunities for a women's team to play, to then hopefully have a development team, to then have an under 16s and under 15s and under 10s. That is kind of the aim, if you like. And both Steve and Claire have been nothing but supportive of that so far.
Already got some really talented footballers coming through the system, obviously from a female perspective. Obviously got Minnie Dahini coming through. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry, Minnie, if I've just butchered your surname. But that'll be fantastic and music to their ears that there's going to be this pathway through Paddock with an unbelievable person like yourself, Meg, who's got that vision.
Yeah, I think there's not a lot of places that have it. And I think the way that Paddock has already grown over the last 5 years, for example, there's so much more potential for it to grow even further. And whether it's me and someone else and we get more people in and do it, or if it's just me by myself, the idea is that if you can grow it and grow it and grow it, you're already looking at a success, if you like, in the next 5 years. And that's with me having both experience in boys grassroots and girls grassroots and girls elite. So I don't like talking about myself and trying to big myself up, but having that well-rounded knowledge of both areas of grassroots and elite, but also boys and girls, puts me a step ahead of other people so that I can put things in place for that to happen, if that makes sense.
So taking Minnie as an example, like if we didn't have a girls setup, would she have to leave Paddock at some point because at a certain age she can't play with the boys anymore?
Yeah, eventually, if there was nothing there, like I think if I'm correct, she could play for a boys team up until adults.
Okay.
If she was good enough. If she was good enough to play whatever, by the time she's under 16s, if she was still able to cope with the demands, so usually the way it works is if you are an under 16s girls team, if you like, so you had a full team of under 16 girls, they would probably play in an under 15s boys league because the physical demands are so different. And sometimes, so my academy team, they play a year down, so under 14s, but they play in an under 13s league. Some of these under 13s boys are like grown men. They're massive. You're looking, and the physical difference is what ends up stopping girls from playing with boys at the later ages. That's why they end up having to find a girls team. But probably, in my opinion, they should play with boys for as long as they can.
It's just amazing. I'm absolutely blown away. I really am. It's just, honestly, it's fantastic. I think we need more people like that in the game that are prepared to put the work in, because it's a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice that you've done. Honestly, it's just absolutely amazing. I think it is written in the stars that you are going to be a big part of Stretford Paddock in whatever form that takes. It's just amazing listening to you, honestly. I really am. I'm almost in tears.
Well, thank you.
Meg, what's been your biggest challenge so far, like setting this up from scratch? I know you've had the support of Steve and Claire. There must have been some things which you just thought, this is going to be a real nightmare to fix before we, get the team going.
Yeah, it's not easy. The problem we've had more or less is trying to add quality to what we've already got without. I've got a team there that I've played with for the last 2 years, so adding people into that is what's difficult because I'm friends with these people. Like we've been out together, we do a lot together. So adding to that is what's hard because at some point, some of those people are going to have to go because the more I add quality to it, the better we get. The aim is for this season is that we finish top of the league. I don't have any lower expectations than that. So if we finish top of the league and we get promoted, who's going to stay? Who's going to go? Make it a goalkeeper's been the biggest issue. I've literally only just tonight, we've trained tonight and I've only just got a goalkeeper. And she's away for the next 3 weeks. So goalkeepers are the hardest to find, especially in the league that we're in. That's probably the thing that stressed me out the most. Going into the season, after we did have a goalkeeper, she messaged me 4 weeks before the league started, said she was going somewhere else. So she's kind of left me stuck there because they're not easy to find, and it's not easy to find someone who is actually a good goalkeeper. The girls' game in itself is crying out for good goalkeepers, but Mary Earps has kind of done her thing in the last Euros, not the one we've just won, the one before. Mary Earps being as good as she has been over the last 4 years or so has kind of helped that out. So more kids are wanting to be goalkeepers, but you're not getting more 20-year-olds wanting to be goalkeepers. So the goalkeeper situation will take a good 10 years to fix itself. So yeah, we've gone into this season without a goalkeeper. And I said this at the weekend, had we had an actual goalkeeper, we probably wouldn't have conceded. So that's no disrespect to the person that was in net, because if you're not a goalkeeper, you don't know what you're doing. You don't do the things that a normal goalkeeper would. So that's probably been the biggest stress for me at the minute, is having a goalkeeper.
I know Alex was absolutely gutted to miss the inaugural game on Sunday. Unfortunately, there was a Manchester derby that took precedence. So, but yeah, how did it to go into that game, the first game for Stretford Paddock?
Because I wasn't playing, I was all right. My players were stressed. I had a few nervous messages the night before about who was coming watching, and that I think stressed them out. For me, I was all right until I got there and it was chucking it down. And I was just thinking, I could have just done with a clear day. You don't need to rain. Just my cones are going to get wet. I'm going to get very OCD about my bibs. Everything's going to get wet. Could have just had a nice, clean game. Steve arrived pretty early on, which calmed me down a bit. He came over, he spoke to me. We spoke with my brother, and I was pretty chill after that. So to be fair, nerves-wise, I was okay. It's a game of football. It's not life or death, as much as I treat it like it is. It's a game of football, and what will be after 90 minutes. But the build up to it was, I think, stressing the players out more than anything. But like I say, as soon as I'd spoke to Steve and I'd spoke to my brother, I was fine.
That's absolutely brilliant. Like I say, you've been absolutely inspirational. I think it's been great listening to you. I think you'll be a great asset for Paddock, and a great advocate for this club and what they're trying to do.
Thank you very much.
Were the rest of the team nervous, Meg, or was it quite a calm, stress-free kind of first 90 minutes?
I'll mention names. Molly is the biggest nerve wrack ever. Like before every game. But for this one, she's been telling me she's been stressing about it 4 days before, and everyone else seemed pretty all right. But Molly just makes me laugh because she's always nervous. Always before the game, she'll be nervous. She still plays well, but she's nervous. Everyone else seemed all right, to be fair. Everyone seemed okay. I tried to. The message beforehand was try not rise to the occasion of what it is. Just play football. Don't let what it is be bigger than the fact we need 3 points.
So I've heard that from coaches before, like, play the game, not the occasion.
Yeah, to be fair, we've done it a lot in youth football. It's very hard with younger people to make them forget what they're about to be playing for, kind of thing. Cup finals, semi-finals, quarter-finals. It's really, really hard to get young people to just kind of bring themselves back down to earth and chill out a bit. Adults, it's slightly easier. You should be able to manage your own emotions. If you're playing open age football, you should be able to, before a game, do what you need to do to get yourself ready. So, like, for example, whether it's superstition or not, my boots and my socks and my shin pads have to go on in a certain order. If they don't, I'm losing my head. So I know that if I've done that, I'll be fine. Whereas Molly could do all the superstitious rituals in the world and she'll still be nervous.
What did you learn from the team in that first 90 minutes, apart from all the weird rituals and who gets nervous and who doesn't? But 90 minutes, you drew the game 1-1. You probably should have won it if only you had a goalkeeper. But yeah, what did you learn about your players?
As individuals, they've got quite a bit about them. They've got a bit of fight. They've got a bit of dig deep. We've got a few younger kids. I say younger kids. They're not kids anymore. We've got a few younger players who we've known for the last 2 years, but they joined us as 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and they need the experience of open age football, the rough and tumble side of it. And I think that's probably something at the weekend that if we'd have been a bit braver, if we'd have been a bit more robust in our tackles, if we'd have been a bit stronger, we'd have probably edged out the win. But I'll say Alice. She's actually going off to uni now. But she's really good, really technical, really talented. But she's about 4 stone. Anyone pushes her, knocks her, she's going flying. And I think if we'd have been a bit more, if we'd have been able to toughen her up a bit, she'd have been all right. But their goalkeeper was really, really tall. She came out really brave. She was big. She was strong, and I think it was a bit of nerves, a bit of apprehensiveness. And we could have done a bit more in that to get the extra goal. We have another young one. She's only 17. Liv. She started at centre back, but she's so good on the ball that she can progress into that midfield role, and she could probably be a holding midfielder, and she could probably do it on her own. So we play with a double pivot, and me being as attacking minded as I am, I'd rather play with a single pivot. And Liv could definitely do that herself. She's got the legs to do it. She's got the engine to do it. She's got the ability to clip a 60-yard ball if needs be. She can play off 1 and 2. Liv's definitely one to watch this year. I think she's been really, really good. Defensively, do you know what? I actually thought we were good. Their goal, like I said, could have been avoided in terms of an actual goalkeeper probably would have handled the situation differently. But to be fair, defensively, we were solid. Their attackers, they didn't really have anything. Whether that was, in my opinion, they weren't very good, or we outbattled them. We were stronger, we were quicker, we were more physical. And for the first time ever, obviously it's a bit of a mixed squad now. It's got new people in it, it's got old people in it. But in terms of all the older people, it's the first time ever I've seen them have a bit of bite, a bit of determination, a bit of grit about themselves to actually want to win the game. It was just the final third. If you've seen the goal, it's gone out on Instagram. Ailish has put a cross in and it's gone in. And sometimes you do need that kind of luck, but on another day, again, in my opinion, had I been playing, we may have scored a few more. Everything though was positive. Everything to come away from it was positive. I don't have anything negative to say about it. Mistakes were avoidable, but again, mistakes come from not having a goalkeeper, not having an out-and-out striker on the pitch. Like, there's things that we can fix, and that to me is the most positive and most important thing. Is when we go to training, when the game comes at the weekend, I know now what to say and what to put in place so that we go out and get the win and we fix the issues from last weekend.
Yeah, Meg, though, you made some really important points there, and I think one of the things that I've said about the men's first team this year is they're in their first season of Division One, and the point I've made constantly is be fearless, and they've come out and absolutely ran riot so far with and gone above and almost everyone's expectations with the form that they've been in, but why not the women's team as well? Why can't they be
Yeah,
fearless? Why can't they look at it as, yes, it's their first season and your first season together for most of you playing together, but that doesn't need to be a disadvantage. That can be something that you can build on from maybe a promotion or, in your expectations, I think you said earlier, Meg, a title winning season. So go out into the next match knowing that anything can happen this season and just go for it.
yeah, definitely. And my coaching philosophy, if you like, is what I instill in all my players, whether it be open age, whether it be under 11s, under 14s, whatever it is that I have come across me, is like, be courageous, be ready for anything. Don't be afraid of the outcome. Enjoy what's about to happen and work your ass off. Basically, if you work harder than the other team, I guarantee we'll get a result out of the game. And it's probably more through my United background, is like that relentlessness, that constant want to win the ball, win your tackles. If it goes out, we're back in, we're quick, we're ready to get the ball back in play. That constant energy and passion and aggressiveness in a controlled way is everything I want us to be.
I've got one last question for you then, Meg, and that is, where do you see the women's team at Paddock in 5 years' time?
There's a long way to go. The aspirations are always as big as possible. And you can hold me to it. We'll go as high as we possibly can go. The idea, like I say, at the end of this season is to win the league, be promoted, go play in the Prem next year. I would argue 2-3 years maximum in the Prem, 3 max, 2, ideally 1 if I'm being me, but 2 years, go up into the next tier of football. And I think the next tier is Northwest Regional, if I'm correct. And there's a lot of good teams in there, but Paddock deserve their name to be in and amongst those teams. And definitely, if we keep adding quality to the squad, and I do believe location plays a big part, and that's been a big reason as to why we train where we train and that kind of thing. And if we attract those players, we'll be more than capable of going competing in the higher divisions. I think the big picture for me is at the start of next season, we have at least 1, if not 2 or 3 girls' teams. So whether that be under 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s, 14s, whatever it is, we have that infrastructure in place so that eventually, as we start adding these teams, we can have a development squad, we can have a reserve squad that will feed the women's team, which is obviously the aspiration of every club. I understand that. But if you've got someone like me, if you like, who wants to do that, and that is the aim, that is the vision of provide somewhere that these young girls can play, because it's only going to get bigger. The more people try to avoid it and the more people try to ignore it, it's going to be more slammed in the face, because it's only going to get bigger. The women's teams in the country, in Spain, in America, they're only getting better. The facilities are getting better. The commercialization of it is getting bigger. The globalization of it as well it's only going to get bigger. And if we can be a club that is somewhat a pioneer in that big journey of women's football, then that can only be a good thing.
Meg, what do you need from our listeners? Because we're getting close to double figures now per pod. So if there's anyone listening now, what What can they do to help that vision?
If you've got daughters, get them playing football. Don't just automatically assume they all want to do dance and gymnastics, because they don't. Let them play football, even if they're not very, very good. Let them play, because the bigger, the more impact they can have on it in terms of grassroots level, the more impact that will have higher up. If you can get your daughters, your nieces, whatever, whoever, playing and watching women's football, encourage them to support whoever they like. Like I said, I played for City as a kid, and at that time, I'm a United fan in the men's, but at that time, United women's weren't a thing. So my team was City. Let your daughter support City women's if you want them to support a women's team. Of course, we'd all rather you support United, but if that's not the case, let them support City. Let them support Arsenal. Let them support Chelsea. Just let them do it, and it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the infrastructure from bottom to top will be in place.
I'm probably going to edit that out, Meg. I think they should support Paddock ladies and no one else. Not having any City fans.
Yeah. Ideally, yeah, but we need it to get bigger at some point.
Right, and also to our members as well. Obviously, you keep an eye on the Saturday games for the first team and the Amis, but remember we do have a Sunday game now with the women's team. So I know a couple of our members went along to your first game. So if anyone is in the area, you can go along and support Meg and the team on a match day as well.
Definitely, thank you so much.
You're gonna come on Saturday, Meg, Members Day.
I'm at Leicester away, I'm afraid. I was going to, but yeah, my under-14s are playing Leicester at Leicester's training ground. 12 o'clock kickoff.
We'll let you off then, Meg. But thank you again for coming on. It's
you.
been a massive pleasure. Johnny, thank you for coming on as well. I'm sure you've got a few Instagram accounts to plug, haven't you, before we go?
Yeah, very much so. No, thanks guys for inviting me. Absolutely brilliant listening to Meg. Absolutely inspiring, really is. It's been absolutely blown away. But yeah, like I say, follow my son, Famous Alex Neil, or his Paddock account, Paddock Ultras. We created that in 2022, so he'll follow everyone back who follows them. And it was just a bit tongue in cheek, really, but just to keep it separate. Yeah, he's got Paddock Ultras on Instagram. So, but yeah, no, great listening to everyone tonight, and absolutely inspired by Meg. I think to have somebody, almost a female Steve, should I say, that passion and drive that's going to push this club forward and onto bigger and better things. So yeah, up the Paddock. Thanks for listening.
Stu, you're the fan rep. We've got a fan meetup on Saturday. I'm sure you've got a message before we go.
Get yourself down to the ground. Everyone's welcome. It'd be great to see new and old members, supporters, people from the community coming over to watch the football. Have a bit of a social. Don't sit in your house on your own. We're all very friendly and approachable. And there's going to be the bar open, a bit of a spread of food put on, a quiz. Come have some fun, meet new people, socialise, and then let's all cry when Man United get beat by Chelsea afterwards as well when we watch that in the clubhouse. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you all there up the Paddock. Thanks for listening tonight.
Yeah, don't forget your tin of Spam or tin of beans or whatever you need to bring to support the food bank. All right, let's wrap it up then, guys. It's goodbye from Johnny.
All right, yeah, goodbye from me. Up the Paddock.
It's goodbye from Meg.
Goodbye, thank you for having me.
Goodbye from Stu.
Up for the league, up the fucking Paddock.
And it's goodbye from me. Up the Paddock.